Gemini. Thanks for joining me at the Lightroom forecast. I was unable to do the full moon in Leo reading, so apologies for that to lovely subscribers. But here we are today, 1st of April, new moon in Aries. And this is your reading, Gemini. We're doing a shortened Celtic cross. We come out, it's pretty full on actually. We come out in the central point here with a kind of level of what I see as possibly mistrusting our either perception of what goes on around us, or doubting our intuitive capabilities here. We come out with the Two of Swords, which is about making a decision here, but it's not making a decision based on, it's not urgent, it's not crucial, like you have to do it now. It's not like that. But it is on your gut instinct. It is a decision that's based on that, not on what you see. I do think that there may have been a situation or something that you thought was going to play out in a particular way, and it's not. At this time, we get the Five of Cups, a card of disappointment, a lesson sort of card, really, Gemini, because we have two full cups upstanding in the classic sort of imagery of the Five of Cups. It's just we're not looking at those. We're looking at the spilt ones. So whatever opportunity slips through our palms, there's always something else that will appear. But yeah, there's a level, I do feel it in this reading, a level of frustration. It's like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are overwhelmed by generally everything at the moment. You know, that's going on in the world. We are experiencing an interesting time. Basis of this reading, Gemini, is the Emperor. So we're talking about structure here. You know, to a certain degree, we need structure in our lives, and we can provide that for ourselves, and ultimately, beyond the feelings of suffocation that structure and laws and rules can, the suffocation of that, we can provide that for ourselves. I think the last Gemini reading was about actually sort of banging up against, you know, authority, external authority, but kind of coming to this realization that we are, in the end, our own authority. And if we're butting up against, you know, the system, the structures of this system that we live within, in or under, communication is a key here. You know, you kind of have to ultimately be true to yourself. So there's a level of frustration here, but it's not all frustrating. Recent past, we have the Prince of Swords. This has been carried away. I mean, I speak of perception. The Prince of Swords has so many little thought forms that are described as fairies here that are taking this prince in all different directions. I mean, there's no focus. There's no particular focus here. It's all over the place, but it's all over the place sometimes for a purpose. For a purpose. There's a level of sort of self-sabotorial energy in this, but at the same time, and a kind of resistance, which I wouldn't imagine so much. I mean, you can't generalize, but I wouldn't imagine so much with Gemini. But there is a level of resistance to letting something go, whether that's within yourself or an idea that you wanted to run with and that's sort of been just gone poof and disappeared, or that you've been disappointed by. There's a level of something here that that you need to just think, let go, get on, move forward, just keep moving with the flow, just keep moving with the flow. And if you and if you still feel unfocused, at least there's something good about knowing what you don't want in order to know what you do want at any given time, Gemini. So current position, we have the 10 of Swords. We understand the classic imagery. In the Thoth deck, it's called ruin. But what it really is that, so there's 10 swords. We're at the end of an old cycle. We're just about to begin a new cycle. We can't take any more. And Gemini, being a mind, kind of a busy mind, this is how we sabotage ourselves, with this busy mind. That's a killer, that we're so brutal with ourselves, possibly. Who needs an enemy? I mean, who needs an enemy? We can inflict the worst on ourselves purely through our mind. So it's that's what I mean. It's quite full on, but it gets better. We've got the Wheel of Fortune, which is amazing. The Wheel of Fortune. This is the end of an old cycle, or the end of a cycle, beginning of a new one. The Wheel of Fortune beckons. And the Wheel of Fortune may well lie in those 2 cups that in this particular card, in the 5 of Cups, that you're just not focused on. So we're speaking perspectives here. Perspective is everything. An extra card for guidance. We see the need. The 2 of Discs for change. This is called change in the Thoth deck. And yet it's a continuum. It's an infinity sign. But we just bring in new things. And we just alter a particular direction. It's a continuum. This speaks of disappointment to me, and maybe issues with authority. But the thing is, and losing focus, distraction. But it actually speaks of a life of many lessons, Gemini, as well. It speaks of a big cycle here, not just like big. There's something quite big in this. That it's either a cycle that's gone on for a very long time, or that it's gone beyond, lifetimes. Habits of a lifetime, yeah. We're standing up for our principles. Why do we always have to do that? 7s, they're all cards of assessment. We need to be standing on really firm, solid ground to be able to stand up for our own integrity. When we know we're on the right track. When we're kind of slipping all over the place, something's not quite right. Maybe we're doing it through habit. I'm not saying this is what's going on for you at all, but this is what we get. And sometimes it can be that with the Seven of Wands that we don't feel that we are being heard. We don't feel that we are being listened to. And if that's a sort of ongoing thread in your life, that you've always felt like no one listens to me, and it's sort of like, oh God. So it's always push, push, push. When, again, that is about perspective. It's not necessarily a truth. Anyway, let's keep going. Yeah, and it creates a lot of inner conflict. We get the Five of Wands, and this constant need to draw boundaries out. This is my, Anyway, come on, let's lighten things up a bit here. What's this What's the Ten of Swords for Gemini? For Geminis out there, yeah, the release, the coming to the conclusion that that's it, really, the 10. I mean, God, get it, gone burger. We get the Fool. This is the key to an unencumbered freedom, is to digest those 10 swords and go, I get it. There's a lesson in the 10. There's a lesson in it that we say, aha. I mean, it's an aha moment. And we then start to perceive how free we really are. Okay, so that's good. Wheel of Fortune for Geminis. Ooh. Wealth. Wheel of Fortune, 10 of discs. Wheel of Fortune. What has gone on in the past, where we come from, our values, how we're brought up, all of that stuff exists within this 10. This is all of this, where we see our place to be, where we stand. Where we stand, are we standing on solid ground? We're constantly having to defend our boundaries. We see this 10 with the Wheel of Fortune, understanding that we all have a place to stand. We all come from somewhere. We may not, our loyalties may change, and that's probably one of the most difficult things. When one's loyalties change and alter, but we still have like this wealth of experience, Gemini, whatever that means for you. We still have this wealth of experience. We still have a place where we came from. Do you see what this is, Possibly a shift of loyalties. This is what the change is speaking of. Let's have a look at the 2, possibly the 2 of discs. For Geminis, for lovely Geminis. Wherever those loyalties lie, whatever they are, to whomever they are to, whether it is family or people that you consider family, in the end, when we're looking at the 2 of discs, it's about change here. It's about making a decision. We're keeping a balance, at the moment. That, many times through life we shift closer to one zone, we move away from that, we pull in other things. It's so dynamic, isn't it, life? So this idea of change is something that can really open the curtains, doors, and blow through like a total cleanse. We have the Ace of Swords, an infusion of new clarity. which is coming. And with that, the Strength card, because we need strength in this process. And we actually, by moving through this process, we've understood what it is to tame that beast. And by beast, I mean the mind. We learn, we go, aha, that's it. That's it. I can understand now the difference between ego, psyche, what is not overly conscious in the past has become more conscious, become more aware of it. Interestingly, Gemini, beautiful card, the Strength card, and the Ace of Swords. Something just went in and through and out again, but anyway. Beautiful reading. I mean, amazing reading. Gutsy Gemini. If I don't say so myself. Anyway, let's see. Pixie and Fairies, Brian Froud. Can the fairy folk just give us a wee glimmer, even if it's one card? Just a little glimmer. Yeah, I think we get the Dark Lady here. This is a very scorpionic card. Very scorpionic. You know, we've whether we're in the process or have been in the process of delving deep into what buttons we have, how they're pushed, how we maneuver, what we do, and how we actually how we manage our own mind is the key here. And if we were all totally aware of what, of what the machinations, the subconscious, if we were party to see that, we'd all be insane, wouldn't we? So there's a reason why at certain times we discover new elements. Because if we saw the whole thing, we'd probably go a bit gaga, I think. I think they call it, and I'm not joking about mental health here, but I think they do call it psychoses. But this is it. The mind is a very, very sharp tool. It's a very sharp blade. And we usually, first and foremost, inflict that sharp blade upon ourselves. The Dark Lady is about delving deep. It's about primal sort of passion and knowing where we truly stand within, within certain areas of ourselves that gives us strength. On that note, ka kite, Geminis, have a wonderful week. Enjoy this new moon. Cheery now.